Well, the Obama administration looking to ease concerns over its plan to take in more than 10,000 Syrian refugees. The president and his cabinet members insisting it is the American thing to do and that the government will vigorously screen everyone coming in. However, take a look at this new Fox polling here showing that an overwhelming majority of Americans, 67%, are very much opposed to the idea. Joining me now, Republican Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma. He is a member of both the Homeland Security and Intelligence Committees. Senator, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Absolutely. I want to start here. We heard what the people say, but I want to get your take from a national security standpoint. Tell us the pros and cons of admitting Syrian refugees.
Yeah, the focus on admitting Syrian refugees from the administration has been, we're checking these individuals, and if we don't find any negative information, then we're going to let them in. And it's a long process, between 18 to 24 months, so they go through and do all these different screenings, so they are correct in that. But their whole focus is, again, if we don't find anything bad, we'll let them in. What we have asked is a simple thing. We're not looking to see if you find anything bad, because most of these individuals, we don't know anything about them. We're trying to find out, do we have positive identification? Do we really know who they are? Do we find the good things about them and their background, rather than just we found an absence of anything bad? That's a very different focus. This is very similar to where the administration's been on things like Gitmo and on illegal immigrations, getting some legal status. The American people are just getting stirred up saying, I see you want to do all these things. We just want to know that you have our nation's best interest and national security on it, rather than some policy piece on it.
And then, Senator, with that in mind, could you explain the vetting and registry process that's currently in place, and how reliable and thorough is the process?
Yeah, the process is actually very thorough. There are 4 different live interviews, most of those occurring overseas before they ever get to the United States. There are multiple different terrorist watch lists, intelligence lists, all of those things that they go through. It's about, as I mentioned, about an 18 to 24-month process to go through. That works very well for individuals that are not coming in from a war-torn area. What is very different for this?
Yeah, go ahead,
well,
Senator.
the American people feel it as well. The individuals that are fighting there in Syria are coming from all over the world. These are foreign fighters on the whole that come from every region, every place. Some of those have visa waiver permissions, some of those don't, but they're coming to Syria. They're also training individuals that are there. So while the vast majority of the people that are fleeing out of Syria are the well-educated, are the doctors, are the professors, are all these different individuals that are just trying to flee for their lives. Many people that are in that group as well, tens of thousands, are also these foreign fighters and other individuals that have been trained in Syria that are trying to return back to country. We've asked a simple question. Tell us how you're doing the screening different than how you're doing in other places. The administration so far has said we're being as thorough there as we are everywhere else. That's not a good answer. We want to know there's something unique about the screening here. You're trying to make sure we have positive ID, not just a lack of negative ID.
Right, and some of those refugees, the fighters, the bad people we're concerned about, have fake IDs and passports. But let me show you another poll here, Senator Lankford. This is polling 1,000 registered voters, Republican and Democrats alike. And the question was the likelihood at least one Syrian refugee who comes to the U.S. will carry out an attack. 49% think it is very likely. 28% say that it is somewhat likely. So I ask you, Senator Lankford, if the U.S. were to take in Syrian refugees, is there a certain number of migrants that could be manageable?
It's not the quantity, it's the quality of information in the background. That's the real issue. So people focus on, like the administration has 10,000, which is interesting to me. It was only a few months ago the administration was talking about doing 100,000 refugees coming in. Now they've shrunk that number significantly due to the pressure of the nation to only 10,000. But even that, it's not the quantity, it's the quality of information. If we don't have quality information, why would we allow these individuals to be able to come in the country? If we do have quality information, why is we as Americans would we reject these folks that are fleeing from a war-torn area? Many of these are Syrian Christians, they're Druze, there are other areas that are actually fleeing from the persecution that are there. They want to know, is there a way that I can find some relief? America's always been a place for that. But the singular focus of it is, do we know who they are? Do we really know their background? That's not a hard question. If the administration can't answer that, why would we allow them in?
I understand. Thanks for clarifying that. So you're saying, look, if we can vet all of them very thoroughly and precisely, then, as Americans, you're okay with that. but make sure that
I think most Americans are, but the administration's not doing that currently. They're focused on negative information. If the intelligence community doesn't know anything bad about them, then why wouldn't we let them in? I would say it's exactly the opposite way to do it. I think that's why the American people inherently are pushing back on it to say we don't want the administration just allow people in because we don't know. We want to allow them in if we do know who they are. As long as they pledge not to do that, I would absolutely oppose bringing folks in until we know they can get it right.
Okay, Senator Lankford, I thank you for your time, and we have to leave it there. We'll speak to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.